Already 4-1, their only loss to South Florida, and they are kicking off are the Buffs, and Marcus Herford on the return for Kansas, trying to break a tackle but unable to do so, and he is taken down at the 15-yard line, a return of 13 yards for Herford. And Kansas has been riding that right arm and swift feet of Todd Reesing, 16-2 as a starter. Starting lineup for the Jayhawks will showcase at the top of your screen and showcase Kerry Meyer. He's actually the backup quarterback and former starting quarterback, but now a star receiver for the Jayhawks. Well, Reesing, as he will all day long, work out of that shotgun and look over. And he's able to get this complete to Dexton Fields. You can see the Colorado Buffs defense at the top of your screen.
And Tess, that's a defense that's taken on the #3 passing offense out of the Big 12. And this defense is pretty strong inside. They've got good tackles up front, but they've been giving up a lot of yardage on the ground at 171 yards a game.
2nd and 5 now for Reesing. Sprints to his right, and he has the first down to his favorite target, Kerry Meyer. Look at the impact players, Rod.
Well, you just saw one of them. I mean, Kerry Meyer. We talked about him in the open there. And he's a guy that has really great hands, and he's got about 4 or 5 speed, an attractive target outside. And he also has Dexton Fields out there to work with, and Fields is back after missing a couple of ball games with an injury. And Jake Sharp really sparked the offense in the second half of that game last week against Iowa State.
And running to the near side is Jake Sharp. Had 186 all-purpose yards against Iowa State.
Well, not just that. I mean, he had the touchdown that got them going in the second half. As you take a look at the impact players for Colorado, George Hippolyte up front. He's one of those big, good tackles inside we talked about. He's not the only guy that plays good defense. Brad Jones, underrated. He's the pass rushing specialist on the outside. And Jaleel Brown, a big corner, gets his first start to match up against Meyer. That ought to be a nice matchup.
2nd and 11 as Reesing looks over to finalize that call. He has time, and he's able to get it to A.J. Stewart, and Stewart is out to the 37-yard line, a pickup of 5. Rod, what did you dial up with the research this week doing your homework back in the Bay Area?
Well, you know, spend some time in the lab looking at Kansas and Colorado. Kansas, really, the running game has been an issue. They ran the ball well last season, not getting it done this season, and they really should feature Meyer. He's outstanding. Get the ball to him, and that tall defensive line can affect Cody Hawkins by getting their hands up. They're about 6'3", 6'4" across that front.
This is a 3rd down and 5. The line to make is the 42 for the Jayhawks. Reesing being flushed, able to get it to his running back, Sharp, but Sharp is taken down well short of the first down by Ryan Walters. So a fine defensive effort early on for the Colorado defense, and their coordinator Ron Collins, who wants to see that early on.
Well, they do a nice job of making sure they force Reesing to throw the ball to a hot receiver. Nice clean tackle on the outside. That's a sound start for Colorado's defense, and a slow start for Kansas as they started last week very slowly.
There's Josh Smith. He's an electric player who can really change a game. Alonzo Rojas to punt. And Smith set to field this at the 25, and he does so with many men in blue right in his face, including Russell Brorson. And Colorado is led by Cody Hawkins. Cody's been taking some punishment in recent weeks. He absorbed a lot of hits in the losses to the speedy defenses put forth by Texas and Florida State. And as you look at the starters across the top of your screen, you notice a banged up and a young offensive line.
Struggling offensive line. 5 guys they were counting on it, either been injured or academically ineligible, and that's really hurt their running game. They're number 11 in the Big 12 running the football.
Demetrius Sumler is the lone back as Hawkins is set to pass on first down, and he had to complete to Cody Crawford.
We have the Kansas defense at the top of the screen there, and that's a defense that's very good with the linebackers. A lot of senior linebackers, a good run defense. They've just given up too many big plays in the passing game, and that's been their problem, one that Colorado hopes to take advantage of.
So a 2nd and 6 for the Buffs. they go with the inside handoff to Sumler. Sumler, many times you'll see him in as the third down back. He has a little more experience than the young group that you consistently see back there.
Well, here are the impact players for Colorado's offense. Josh Smith, they've got to get him going. He's an exciting player. Not much production the last couple of weeks. Patrick Williams, also a good matchup on the outside. He could explode today. And how about Rod Stewart? That's undersized running back at about 5'6", quick. He is a game changer for that offense.
Yet to make it into the lineup so far is Speedy Stewart. And a flag comes in here as there was plenty of movement in the interior of both lines. John Bible, the referee today. So that goes against the Jayhawks. That was Jamal Green. And that's good for a first down. So a very costly penalty on the third down there. Hawkins with the receiver coming around. It's Patrick Williams. And Kansas with good pursuit defensively. How about the impact players for the Jayhawks D?
It really starts with Mike Rivera, the former pinched player. And what a story. We'll tell you what his dad did this week about his son not being in the lineup, then getting back in the lineup. Daryl Stuckey, perhaps the MVP of this defense. Really an outstanding player. And then Jake Laptat, he's the pass rushing specialist on the outside. He'll be effective on third down for Kansas.
2nd and 9. Hawkins trying to sprint away from that pressure, now being pressured a little more, but he is able to get it complete to Crawford, but only a pickup of 2. All right, Rod, you went down to the lab. You got the film projector going on Colorado. What'd you come up with?
Well, it wasn't too hard. You know, you started looking at tape, and the thing that jumps out is that they got to protect Cody Hawkins. He's just getting beat up too much. And then they were getting big plays the first couple of games of the season. They haven't had them the last 2 weeks. They got to get Josh Smith going. They got to get Stewart going. And then on defense, they have to contain Todd Reesing.
3rd and 7. Need to reach the 47. And once again, Hawkins is pressured. And this is just thrown to the outside of Patrick Williams. So the punt team will come on for the Buffs.
This is a familiar sight the last couple of weeks for Colorado, and that is Cody Hawkins on the run. Now, they try to get him outside and protect him a little bit, but you see the poor blocking there. He's under pressure. There's Mortensen, 8, getting in his face, and he didn't have time to really turn his shoulders and set his feet and throw the ball. He was a little harassed there.
Matt DeLallo on to punt, and back to receive is Damon Patterson. And this is a high punt, a little short, takes a CU bounce inside the 20-yard line. So Todd Reesing will try to get this offense going when we return to Lawrence. Number 16, Kansas, trying to start 2-0 in the Big 12 for just the 3rd time ever in their program's history. Reesing flanked in the backfield by Quigley and Sharp, and this is Sharp. And Sharp is taken down for a minimal pickup by Maurice Lucas. Now, Jake Sharp, you know, they've been looking for somebody, Rod. Brandon McAnderson had 16 rushing touchdowns last year, and they're trying to find that guy who's going to be the guy in this backfield with Todd Reesing.
Yeah, they haven't discovered that yet. They've used Quigley and Crawford, and you know, Sharp came through in the second half last week for them.
Reesing, once again, the inside handoff goes to Sharp. And this time, he's taken down by Brandon Nicholas, who transferred to Colorado from Notre Dame.
You know, the thing with this Kansas running attack, it's not just about whether they can run the ball against Colorado. It's whether they're going to be good enough to run it against Oklahoma, Missouri. If they can't run it well enough against those teams, they will not win the Big 12 North, and Mark Mangino knows that, and he's determined to get the running game going.
Well, we know what Reesing can do. He's been a one-man show. See what he can come up with here on 3rd and 7. Sprints to the near side. and has that ball complete but short of a first down at Dexton Fields. It was a pickup of 5 there. They needed 7.
You want to start your rant?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. This is your rant, right?
Receivers that run patterns just short of first down markers.
Yeah. Take a couple of more yards up. I know the route calls for you to do it at that point, but you have to know where the marker is, and Reesing is going, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. You got to run it a little deeper.
He takes the step to the outside also, rather than just burying the shoulder and seeing if maybe you could have got something out of it. So instead we see Alonzo Rojas for the second time, and Josh Smith with a chance to give the Buffs some good field position all the way from the boundary. Now he catches a block, and here goes Josh Smith, the punter to beat. Cuts back to the inside and taken down at the 35 by Alonzo Rojas. A 37-yard return by Josh Smith.
And the fans wanted a block in the back. They're not going to get it. They're going to get a good return for Colorado. They're in business now.
Moore from California played a major role on special teams, as he has before. A 37-yard punt return that has Colorado starting now at the Kansas 35. And Darryl Scott is in at running back as Cody Hawkins is switching things up here as the play clock counts down. And he's going to give it to Scott. And interestingly enough, you talk about Josh Smith and Darryl Scott. I'll tell you about that connection in a moment.
Yeah, and actually Colorado gets away with one here. There's a block in the back that doesn't get called, and that sets them up. Now right there, that was the block in the back that allowed Smith, and it looked like the block was committed by Jimmy Smith, number 3, on 28, Damian Patterson.
2nd and 6 now, as Scott remains in as the lone back. Play action. Hawkins, plenty of room and smart decision. Just keep it on the ground. And he's got a first down inside the 20-yard line. Finally taken down by Darryl Stuckey. Now let's check in with Wendy Nix.
Joe, thank you very much. Michigan beaten badly last week by Illinois, so you figure they're going to roll over their MAC opponent today, right? Facing Toledo? Oh, well, not so fast, my friends. That was Stephen Threet, picked off by Tyrell Herbert. He goes all the way, 100 yards. He'll score 7-0, but Michigan has tied it up. Joe?
Wendy channeling a little Coach Corso there with a not so fast, my friends. Somewhere now in. First down for the Buffs. Play action. Hawkins looking over the middle, and Hawkins has that complete and then stripped away. What a defensive play. Kendrick Harper just got right in there and stripped it away.
He just took it. I mean, Hawkins does a nice job of threading the needle, and watch Crawford give this ball up. It just gets taken away. It's almost as if Crawford never fully had possession, and it just came away. That might actually be an interception and not a fumble. And Crawford doesn't have control of this ball. He takes a hit from Justin Thornton, and then is just stripped by Harper. I think that's an interception.
What a fine defensive play there when Colorado had things going and they were knocking on the door. So Reesing back out for the Jayhawks. Sharp trying to find some room, and it's tough going on the inside as Brad Jones was able to make the tackle.
Yeah, and again, the running game just isn't there, for Kansas. And part of that is the fact that folks are determined to make Kansas one-dimensional. So they load up to take away the run and to force them into throwing, which they've done pretty well. They've thrown the ball well, but you got to have some kind of a running game.
Reesing under center, and you don't see that often as they now go back to the gun, and he's flanked by Sharp, and Reesing is taking plenty of time before going downfield and overthrew Briscoe. Coverage came from Gardner McKay.
Well, that time Reesing noticed the pressure, saw the blitz, and saw that there would be single coverage, and so he backed out of the under center alignment and went to the shotgun to give him time and plenty of opportunity to see his receiver out there. Now, this third down, Kerry Meyer. They have to be looking for Meyer.
He's in the slot on the top of your screen. 3rd and 10. Line to make is just short of the 15. Reesing. He looked to his running back for a moment. Now scrambling, trying to get out of his own end zone, and just does before the pressure came in from Maurice Lucas and Brandon Nicholas.
Well, he wanted to throw the screen, and they didn't have it out there. And part of the reason, Kerry Meyer isn't right. I mean, Kerry Meyer looks to me like he's limping around out there. He tried to throw a block to set up the screen, and Meyer, he's in the slot right there, number 10. Look at, he just isn't moving like himself. And so they don't get the block squared away. They don't get the screen pass, and now they're backed up.
So Rojas from his own end zone, and here's Smith again. And he runs up to field it just before a Kansas defender, James Holt, came charging in. So the turnover by Kansas only temporarily maybe stopping the Buffs here as they have prime position once again.
Well, in the field position game, that turnover didn't hurt Colorado.
Josh Smith had the 37-yard punt return to get them into KU territory, and then the defense held really well when Kansas got the ball back. And now here's our first look at Speedy Stewart in the backfield for the Buffs.
Big-time player, small guy, but a big-time player.
He is exciting. Hawkins changing it up again. And here is Stewart. And Stewart unable to shake loose from Mike Rivera. Told you early on about the problems that the CU offense is facing up front. Now look at that list of the injuries that have decimated the front group for the Buffs.
All these guys are gone for the year, and you know, this is college football. It's not the NFL. You just can't go pick up guys off the waiver wire to help out. So they're playing guys that didn't expect to play this season, and that offensive line is struggling.
Hawkins on 2nd and 9. Going to try to get away from that surge up the middle, and that ball is incomplete. It was just off the hands of Patrick Williams.
What will help this offensive line is throwing the ball on 1st down, running some screens, running some draw plays, doing some things to take some heat off of the pressure that they're going to keep seeing. And it'll help Cody Hawkins as well, because Hawkins, you know, he's not a big guy. So he can't keep getting hit as he has the last couple weeks against Florida State, Texas, and as Kansas wants to tee off on him.
Sumner now comes in on 3rd and 9. He offers them a little more pass protection in the backfield. Line to make is the 18. Hawkins blitzed right up the middle, and that ball is complete to Cody Crawford for a Colorado 1st down. A pitch and catch of 16 yards.
And Cody Hawkins threw this ball on time with authority. Man-to-man coverage on Harper. Look where he put that ball. And he knew there was no safety in the middle, so he felt confident throwing it inside like that, leading his receiver towards the middle of the field. Crawford makes a nice grab, but really a very strong throw by Cody Hawkins, who struggled the last couple of weeks.
See what Hawkins has done in the red zone. And somewhere to the 11, taken down by Darryl Stuckey.
Well, we talked about that offensive line. 1st and 10 down here. You want to get something going in the running game. Do they get anything? Actually, they get stoned right at the line of scrimmage. You see all the blue shirts. Again, inexperienced offensive line. Some guys who are playing a little nicked up. It makes it tough. Running backs can't create their own holes. You can only hope that you can make a guy miss, but you can't make 3 guys miss at the line of scrimmage. Maybe you can.
Hardly. Buff fans are hoping somewhere can. Here's Hawkins to the end zone, and that is a touchdown to Crawford. Boy, he has really started to emerge as his role's been increasing as the season goes on.
Crawford has really good hands. He runs good routes and takes a little bit of pressure off of Josh Smith. Again, he makes that move to the outside against what looked like a zone coverage over there, and the corner did not get a piece of him. He didn't chuck him, didn't push him at all. It makes it real easy for him to get to the corner of the end zone.
Eric Goodman for the extra point. So the field position game pays off for Colorado. Josh Smith set them up 2 times. And And Hawkins finds the target. Cody Crawford puts him on the board. Buffs by looking at the game. Marcus Herford. That's going to sail out. And let's check in with Wendy.
Joe, thank you very much. Over on ABC, what else? Texas and Oklahoma. The Sooners outscoring opponents 103-3 in the first quarter. That's Sam Bradford to Manny Johnson. Touchdown. So, do the Longhorns have an answer? 3rd and goal. Colt McCoy, though, not going to happen. McCoy down, sacked by Gerald McCoy, no relation. They will settle for the field goal, and it is 7-3. But how about this? Bradford to Jermaine Gresham, bobbles it, caught by Ryan Broyles. Talk about teamwork, 14-3.
Jake Sharp just took the carry for a 1-yard gain. He was taken out by Jeff Smart. Kerry Meyer sitting on the sidelines for the Jayhawks, Rod.
Yeah, I'm concerned about Kerry Meyer here. You see this catch. Watch him grab his left hip. That's the same leg that we saw taped up in practice on Thursday, and he's not on the field right now.
Reesing, play action. And once again, it is a minimal pickup, and that is to Tim Barry, and a flag comes in.
You think there's a late hit?
Passer,
yeah.
86 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So a roughing the passer call against the Rabid Goldfish. The Rabid Goldfish, I said, Rod Gilmore.
George Hippolyte. Now, come on. The Rabid Goldfish?
That's his nickname on campus, thanks to one of our ESPN production staff. Who took the South Park characters and landed that nickname on Big George, who's a fine player, and that is not in line with what he typically shows for the Buffs.
Well, he's also Mr. Personality, and he's a delight to chat with.
He really is. Represents the program very well, but unfortunately, taking the flag there. Fresh set of downs now. Reesing going to have plenty of time here. And Reesing is once again able to get it to Barry. And the freshman has a pickup of 23.
Well, you said it. No pressure on Reesing at all. He's got plenty of time to survey the field. Look at what they do. They keep 6, 7 guys in to protect him and send only a couple of guys out. Now you get a release late by Barry. Plenty of time for Reesing. Nice job. But again, no Kerry Meyer, and that really affects this offense. He is the guy that Reesing looks for an awful lot.
So a first down now in Buffs territory. High snap. And Sharp is going to pick up just a yard there. Chappelle Brown came up and made the tackle from his defensive back spot.
You know, the other point about Kerry Meyer is you see him jogging back on the field. If he is hurt where he can't really be effective, that affects the backup quarterback spot as well. He is the number 2 quarterback.
Well, we've talked about it. If you're a Kansas fan, you are a play away with Todd Reesing of everything just absolutely changing the whole dynamics of this offense. Reesing, plenty of time again. Now decides to run it himself, and he gets down to the 33-yard line. Sean Moeller and Brandon Nicholas met there.
He wanted Kerry Meyer, and he was looking for Meyer, and look at what Kerry Meyer's done as a slash, a quarterback wide receiver, and that's 1,400 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, receiving yardage there. He's really done a nice job, but again, I think he's banged up and not quite himself.
He's out there for this 3rd and 6. Reesing will do this time and time again and wait to get the call, make his adjustments, and once again he has time, but now he's going to go on the ground, and Reesing is able to pick up a first down. Moeller took him down, but a 9-yard pickup for the junior from Austin, Texas.
And that happened because Meyer wasn't open. I mean, Reesing was looking for Meyer, and Meyer, who normally just has a mismatch with linebackers, could not get open over the middle. And so Reesing finally pulled it down and took off.
So now the Kansas offense is starting to get in gear. 3-by-1, and out of the shotgun is Reesing. Reesing scrambling, dumps it off back at the line of scrimmage to Jake Sharp. And Sharp was quickly taken down by Sean Moeller.
Well,
so that is the end of the first quarter. Kansas looking to match things up here, and coming up after the break, we're going to have a special guest from the Jayhawk hoop program in the booth. Joe Tessitore and Rod Gilmore with you at Memorial Stadium in Lawrence, Kansas, where the home team, 16th ranked Jayhawks, looking to even things up here against Colorado. Jumped out early in a defensive play. Special teams affected first quarter. And Reesing able to get that out to Angus Quigley. Tonight, ESPN2 delivered 2 college football primetime games on ESPN at 8 Eastern. Penn State goes up against Wisconsin, and on ESPN2, Oklahoma State and that high-powered offense go up against Chase Daniel and the Missouri Tigers. College football primetime tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. That's going to look like an arena football game there, Rod, when those two get going. 3rd and 8 now for Reesing and the Jayhawks.
And Myers back on the field now.
He was banged up early on in this one. He's the man in motion, now going 3-by-1 to the top. Reesing has time downfield, and that is incomplete. It would have been good for a first down. It was intended for Jonathan Wilson.
Well, they're out of sync right now. I really think this Kerry Meyer injury has a huge impact on this offense. They have to find another guy to make their 3rd down catches for them, and they're looking around, and no one has stepped up yet. Meyer is, you see him running on this play. That's not his normal gait. He's just not quite the same. I think it goes back to that catch in the first quarter where he took a shot.
Jacob Brandstetter has not attempted a field goal over 36 yards, this from 39. And that is no good. So much like last week when things didn't get going against Iowa State, still a goose egg on the board for the Jayhawks. Stadium here in Kansas. Oh, Rod, what did we say last week? They wanted to get off to a better start after they trailed Iowa State 20-0.
Hey, maybe it's the early start. I don't know, but the crowd doesn't seem to be too awake right now either.
Back with the ball are the Buffs, and Cody Hawkins, little play action, and then able to sprint to the side. That was intended for Josh Smith. Let's check in with Wendy Nix again. Wendy.
Thank you, Joe. It is a Taco Bell studio update. This game, where else? The Cotton Bowl over on ABC. Back and forth we go. Right here, Sam Bradford to Jermaine Gresham. And let me tell you, he's going to score.
There are 2 freshmen playing safety for Texas. You wonder if there's a coverage bust. How open was Jermaine Gresham?
21-10 Sooners.
And there goes Oklahoma. And here goes Speedy Stewart. Rodney Stewart, a first down for the Buffs, and that's the explosion that he can give you, much like the type of offense we see from the Kansas Jayhawks on the hardwood. We're so glad to be joined by the coach of the NCAA championship team, Bill Self. Hey, Bill, congratulations on all your success. It's been a heck of a year, huh?
It's been a good year. You know, it's a great year for this past year for our entire university with the football team, obviously doing so well, winning the Orange Bowl, and then our guys played at a pretty remarkably high level when it counted the most last year.
You're almost getting ready to get back to work.
Hey, we
Practice
got
is coming up.
1 week. 1 week.
First down for the Buffs. Sumler back in. And this is a design quarterback run by Cody Hawkins, and Hawkins has it for an 8-yard gain. Last year, it was something special. Memphis, of course, missing the key free throws down the stretch. Mario Chalmers nailed the three-pointer. Just 2 seconds left in regulation. Sent the game to overtime. The 9-point Kansas comeback at the Alamo Dome pulled away in overtime to win it 75-68. The Jayhawks' first men's basketball title since Danny Manning's team won it all back in '88. We're so glad to be joined by Coach Self here, who's a big football fan. Here's Stewart, and this time unable to get much there. Yeah, we heard all about you yesterday. What was he saying about the ranting in the skybox next to Mrs. Mangino?
Yeah, Mark Mangino was telling us that, you know, you get pretty excited here at the ball games.
I like football. And what's not to like right now with the job that Mark and his staff have done in getting this thing turned around. This is probably, I haven't been to a ton of places, but I can't imagine there being very many better settings for a football game than right here at Memorial Stadium.
Well, right now, that Kansas defense is looking to step up here on 3rd and 2. And the Buffs going to work out of the gun with Hawkins and Sumler. The line to make is the 47. Hawkins to pass. And that is incomplete, and a flag comes in. That ball looked like it was tipped by Russell Brorson. Well, let's see what the call is from the head of this crew, John Bible.
Illegal formation on the offense. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Coach, in recent years, we've seen how the relationship between a basketball program and a football program can pay off at a university. We know what happened at Florida and other places. But the relationship with you and Coach Mangino, describe it for me.
It's good. You know, it's good. I don't get a chance to see the coaches as often since they have their new digs down here next to the stadium, which is fabulous. But we have a great relationship, and he pulls hard for us, and we pull hard for them, because it really helps us and helps all sports as much as anything for a football team to be successful and have great recruiting weekends like this.
Now this is going to bounce out. So the Kansas defense does their job. And, of course, Coach Self, we know you're going to be doing your job in a couple weeks, and we wish you the best of luck with the new season. Thanks for visiting with us.
We'll take all we can get always. All the help we can get.
Thanks, Coach Bill Self, head coach of the NCAA Hoop Champs, the Kansas Jayhawks. More to come. Colorado up 7-zip. Hawks won on the hardwood. And now their football team trying to get that offense into gear. Reesing, plenty of time, and Reesing this time does have it complete to Kerry Meyer. That's an 11-yard pickup, and that's a good sign for Kansas. They need Meyer to get involved.
Yeah, that's his second catch. He was silent for a long time. On the second play of the ball game, he got hurt, but now you see him here trying to work through the injury, whatever the injury is, and he manages just to settle down and pick up a 1st down.
Fresh set of downs now. Sharp. Look out. Trying to find a crease, and he does. A big gainer for Jake Sharp. Jason Brace took him down, but 21 yards on the ground from Sharp.
And watch what a great block you get from the right guard right here. He's just going to make that nice block and clear things up for them. And now a nice cutback by Jake Sharp.
Reesing now running the option. Sharp gets to the edge and just taken down, but you can see that speed to the outside as Jeff Smart was able to get a piece of him, but another 9-yard gainer from Sharp.
Well, that's the running game that we said they needed to find a way to get back. They get it here. Speed option, quarterback directly getting to the edge, and then just giving the ball on the pitch to Jake Sharp. And Sharp has been very, very good since that second half last week against Iowa State, where he sparked the Kansas offense.
Now he's sparking it here after a dismal first quarter, trying to get something going here on this drive. And this time, just a minimal gain into the meat and the teeth of that front four, and Brandon Nicholas for the Buffs.
You know, Meyer made that catch, which got this drive going, but it was the second play of the ball game. He took a shot, and he's been limping around, and at less than full speed. You see him right there. Can't even beat a linebacker to get free. And in what should be a mismatch with him against the safety, corner Brown, actually, he can't really get loose there. You see him somewhere around 50–60%.
3 straight games, over 100 yards for Meyer. And they need him to consistently play a big role here. Now, over the middle, still on his feet, is Dexton Fields. And now Kansas is knocking on the door, a 27-yard gainer of Reesing to Fields.
And Reesing threw this ball on a line, just a rope. To the left of the screen, you'll see Fields come in on a quick, skinny post, and a nice throw.
Well, we talked about it, about when they get inside. You're not going to see that big package out of Kansas. They're going to stay like this in the gun. 3 receivers to the near side, and Sharp flanking Reesing. Sharp trying to break through that door. Able to get it down to the 1-yard line. Sean Moeller made the tackle.
You know, it's interesting. You know, we talk about Kerry Meyer and his injury. We don't know what the injury is, and we can't tell you. because Kansas doesn't talk about injuries. They won't say who's hurt or why they're hurt.
He's coming off the field here for Coach Mangino. 2nd and goal. Reesing looks over one last time. Sharp into the end zone. 2nd rushing touchdown of the year for Jake Sharp, and just like he did last week when they were trailing Iowa State, he's the one to spark things.
Well, this play is designed to go back to the right side. You see him just take a couple of steps to influence to the left with the blocking to the left, and that's to find that crease back on the right side. Almost gets in there untouched.
Ranstetter knocks it through, and just like that, we got ourselves a tie ball game. The junior, the native of Kansas, Jake Sharp, finding the zone. Lawrence, hometown Hawks, tie things up here against the Bucks. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore. Took a little while. You know, it's an 11:30 kickoff here in Kansas.
Yeah. I think the crowd will
set the wake-up call.
Yeah, they were kind of sitting around. Maybe not the normal tailgating going on and the like, you know.
Jake Sharp with the 1-yard touchdown run after a sleepy offensive first quarter. Halfway through the second. Josh Smith is dangerous as a return man. We've learned that already. And this time, unable to get back to the 20, was taken down by Jock Crawford. Now let's check in with Wendy Nix. Wendy.
Joe, thank you very much. We're going to take you out to South Carolina at Kentucky. The Gamecocks struggling with the quarterback question all season long. Today it's Chris Smelly, and that's a connection. 7-7. The score now in Lexington. South Carolina has tied it up. Meanwhile, over on ABC in the Cotton Bowl, Texas and Oklahoma now 21-17 Sooners.
Well, a whole lot of scoring going on at the State Fair. Number 1 is up by 4 on ABC, and we've got a good one right here in the Big 12 North. Stewart unable to dance free of the oncoming pursuit by James Holt. That was a loss of 1.
It's going to be difficult to run against Kansas on first down. And they're pretty solid up front. And Colorado has struggled to run the football the last couple of weeks. I think Colorado really needs to get to the point where they're throwing that ball on first down.
Well, based on what you've detailed very well with the offensive line, that may soon be a reality. Here it is on 2nd and 11. And that was overthrown. It was intended for Cody Crawford, who was able to haul in a touchdown pass earlier today.
Look out. Here comes the Kansas 3rd down defense. They bring on their pass rushers. They bring on their nickel backs. And this is when they really go after you. They're going to go after Hawkins here.
Let's see how Cody Hawkins responds to the pressure of the Kansas defense on 3rd and 11. Hawkins, back it up. Oh, boy, they brought it, and they scored with it. A safety, Jake Lapted. Jake Lapted just hunted down Cody Hawkins, and they take the lead with that. Boy, you saw it coming all the way, Ron.
Well, Lapted is one of the guys we detailed as a great pass rusher, and actually Cody Hawkins ran into this sack. And if Hawkins stays in the pocket, he's okay. But he runs into this sack, and that's a product of what's happened the last couple of weeks. We're talking about his not being comfortable in the pocket because he's been knocked around so much because of the problems with the offensive line. And on that play, he ran out of the pocket and ran into a sack.
Number 1 on Rod's research this week was protect Cody.
Yeah, well,
showed up on the scoreboard in the opposite way.
Well, and that 3rd down defense, you know, they went after him.
So coach/dad doesn't like the way things are going here in the past couple minutes as they tack on a safety after the 1-yard rushing touchdown, and KU goes from fallen asleep in their home ground to taking the lead in a matter of moments. Well, tonight under the lights in Charlotte, Chase drivers Carl Edwards, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon all look to bounce back after getting caught up in the big one last weekend, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Bank of America 500 at Charlotte. Tonight on ABC, coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 7 Eastern.
You know, there's been some grumbling back in Boulder about the quarterback play, and some calls in some corners for Matt Ballinger to get a shot. But the coaching staff has made it clear, hey, they understand what's wrong with the offensive line and that Cody Hawkins is by far and away the best quarterback on this team right now.
Yeah, I don't know that it really matters. You've got those issues with the offensive line in front of you. Well, today's Aflac trivia question, it's a good one because there are plenty of names that come to mind when we throw this one up. Who was the Kansas Jayhawks' first two-time All-American football player?
Hey, I got names.
Oh, so many greats have been here, right, Rod?
John Riggins. Nolan Cromwell.
He was a great one.
Dana Stubblefield. How about Aqib Talib and John Hadel, Gale Sayers? Those are the ones that come to mind to me.
Just racked off the Hall of Fame here at KU. And now quickly out to Dexton Fields, and Fields with a good move for a pickup of 8. So now Reesing gaining a little bit of confidence as his offense clicked. His defense provided points. And now good field position for the Jayhawks.
Well, he's getting a little bit of help with Kerry Meyer banged up. You've seen Jake Sharp step up a little bit and help out in the run game. And Fields has made a couple of big catches.
2nd and 2. The option, and instead they come against the grain with Wilson. And Wilson not able to get a gain there. Well, these two teams last played here in Lawrence back in '06, and then he was a freshman, Todd Reesing. Came off the bench in the second half, threw 2 touchdown passes, also ran for another, and rallied the Jayhawks from a 9-0 deficit to a 2015 win. First ever collegiate action for Todd Reesing. Had 90 yards rushing in that game, so some fond memories when he lines up against the Buffs. 3rd and 2 here. Line to make is midfield. Reesing, plenty of time. Now thinking about what to do with it. This is why they say he's Flutie-esque. Look at this. Incomplete.
Yeah, that was channeling Doug Flutie a little bit. I think a lot of people make mistakes when they compare Doug Flutie to a lot of the undersized quarterbacks.
How so, Rod?
Well, a lot of these guys, you know, they may be similar in size and they may be accurate, but they don't have the arm strength that Doug Flutie had when he played. I mean, Doug Flutie could throw the football. And he's like a 6'3" quarterback crammed down into a 5'10" quarterback with a rocket arm. Most of these other guys don't have arms like that.
Rojas to punt.
Can I get an agreed on that?
I will give you a big solid agreed, but I don't want you to play against my Boston College bias. But I completely agree with you. A lot of these guys are just slight builds that happen to be playing quarterback, where Doug was a real athlete playing that position.
Yeah.
We'll come back. 9-7, the safety, the difference in Kansas. I'm sorry, where did you say our tickets were? 2 gold T-shirts in a sea of blue here at Memorial Stadium, Lawrence, Kansas. And right now, those two guys want to see their offense get back to basics. Rodney Stewart can help that cause, a pickup of 5. Well, the answer to today's Aflac trivia question. Earlier we asked you who's the Jayhawks' first 2-time All-American football player. Rod?
Survey says
John Hadel. Back in 60 and 61.
And I'm sure a lot of folks thought about some of those other names that we tossed out there, like Gale Sayers, you know?
2nd and 5. Stewart, the lone back. Hawkins switching things up. And they're going to call a timeout.
Timeout, Colorado. That's their first timeout of the half.
Well, you mentioned Gale Sayers, the Kansas Comet, All-American in 63 and 64, led Kansas in rushing, touchdown, kickoff returns. He was in the lineup starting for 3 years, and he was, of course, a superstar, but it was John Hadel, first two-time All-American here. Played quarterback, part-time halfback, played some DB, a return specialist, and one of the nation's top punters before becoming a 6-time NFL Pro Bowler with the Chargers and the Rams in his pro career.
I don't even think about the Ram deal. I think about John Hadel with the Chargers, those lightning bolt helmets, you know, Lance Allworth, Gary Garrison.
How good were those jerseys?
Oh, are you kidding me? The powder blue? Love them. Love them.
And there is the fancy new duds that feature the locker of their two-time All-American, as well as some of the greats that have ever played. And now back to action, and here is Stewart trying to pick up that first down, and unable to do so as he was taken down by Mike Rivera.
Rivera finally starting to really get things going. Hey, Mark Mangino was unhappy with the linebacker play this season, and Rivera was one of the guys that he benched a couple of games ago. Mentioned the poor play, and Rivera earned his starting spot back last week. There's more to the story. We'll talk about it a little bit later.
3rd and 2. Rodney Stewart. First down, Colorado. The little mighty mite, Speedy Stewart, with a pickup of 5, taken down by Joe Mortensen and Justin Thornton.
Getting back to the Rivera story, so he was benched, and the public perception out there based on comments from the coaching staff was that he was underperforming. Well, this was on the local radio shows, and his dad heard these comments, so his dad called the radio show and said, hey, he's not underperforming, he's hurt. And he wishes that it would get out there that he's hurt.
Hawkins has this ball complete. Patrick Williams. So dad calls in to the local sports talk radio show. That's got to be a very awkward situation for Mike Rivera.
Yeah, and I think for Kansas and the coaching staff, the policy here is that they won't talk about injuries. And Mike Rivera, you know, wants to please the coaches, so he's not going to talk about his injury. So dad calls up, and that puts, I think, everybody in a bad spot. You talk about helicopter parenting.
Hovering, right?
Yeah, you're hovering so much there that, yeah, as a 22-year-old kid, a lot of folks are like, hey, you know, leave him alone. I mean, the kid is, he's not happy about this, but he doesn't want dad fighting that battle for him.
Looked like there were 12 men on the field there for Kansas, so they're going to burn a timeout. Now tonight, we got 2 college football primetime games on ESPN and ESPN2. Joe Paterno leads his undefeated Penn State Nittany Lions against the Big Ten rival Wisconsin. Then Oklahoma State and Mizzou is on ESPN2 at 8 Eastern. Chase Daniel and that Oklahoma State pacing that they like to play offensively. Watch out for the stats in that box score.
Oh, yeah.
When Oklahoma State and Mizzou meet up tonight. And that's on college football primetime on ESPN and ESPN2.
A lot of points in that one.
They were not charged a timeout after referee John Bible clarified things there. Rodney Stewart going airborne close to that first down, and it looks like he's got it.
So let me ask you this about the Rivera situation. Now, I understand the dad's point of view of being a little frustrated. Okay, but the policy here, they don't talk injuries. I think the dad's perspective is, look, you know, you should, as the coach, protect your players publicly. And so now you've got 2 policies running up against each other, protecting the player versus your policy of not discussing injuries.
Well, the not discussing injuries at times falls under the category of protecting your players, though, doesn't it? Hawkins looking to air it out, and Hawkins overthrows Williams. But in this case, hey, listen, I mean, we're both parents.
Yeah.
And we understand you want to defend your kids, but, you know, I would think that Mr. Rivera would be better served just sitting back and not dialing in to the talk show.
I think that's right, and I'm sure that Mike probably said, Dad, come on. You know, this is killing me in the locker room.
Cody Hawkins was able to connect to Cody Crawford to get the Buffs on the board early on. Now looking to generate something. Trying to do it on the ground, and here goes Speedy Stewart. And you see how shifty he can be, and that's a good gainer for a first down in the Kansas territory. A pickup of 16, finally taken down by Darryl Stuckey.
And Mangino's been frustrated with linebackers not being aggressive and not getting off blocks. You saw that time Rivera slipped down and was not in position to handle the block that came his way by Nate Solder.
Colorado scoreless in each of the last 3 second quarters. We had them a couple weeks ago against Florida State. And this would serve them very well in terms of momentum to get something on the board here before the half. Stewart again. Still on his feet. And look at Rodney Stewart inside the 30 before Russell Brorson takes him down. But an 11-yard gain and another first down for the Buffs.
And remember, he's only about 5'6", so he can run inside because people don't see him. And when he's up on you that quickly and changes direction and you're not expecting him, it makes it hard to tackle him, and you'll miss a tackle.
He had that breakout performance in the win against West Virginia, went for 166 yards, and now he gets a break as Demetrius Sumler comes in. And Sumler now is going to test the inside, and there's the difference. Now, there's the difference between the 220-pound, 5'10" Sumler and the elusive Speedy Stewart at 5'6", 175.
And Stewart told us directly that he uses his height to his advantage. He'll hide. He'll play hide and seek back there because he knows that folks can't see him, and then he can dart quickly right past him and break an arm tackle.
Here's Sumler, and it looks like we have an injured player down on the grounds. 94, Caleb Blakesley, the nose tackle for Kansas.
And he's a very good run defender.
He's an inside plugger kind of defender for that front four for KU. Let's check in with Wendy again. Wendy, what do you have?
Joe, we're going to go back to Lexington, Kentucky, where we've got the Gamecocks and Wildcats. Take it out. The blocked field goal. That's never good. It's certainly not for Kentucky. Captain Munnerlyn takes it 80 yards back all the way into the end zone. And South Carolina now with a touchdown lead over Kentucky. Joe?
Thanks, Wendy. So they're still tending to the injured players. You see Coach Mangino now coming in to check on Caleb Blakesley. And he's up on his feet. Good sign here.
Yeah, he was grabbing his left knee as he was on the ground.
Matthew Barr made the block on the 6'5", 290-pound junior. He had started 15 consecutive games, and then he missed the first snap against South Florida. And now he's off on the sideline. As it's a 2nd and 9, and Rodney Stewart is back in for the Buffs. Delayed handoff, and Stewart trying to find room on the inside. And Darryl Stuckey came up and took him down. Pick up a 3.
You know, one thing that surprises me about the Colorado offense is that, you know, Crawford has been the featured guy in the passing game with 4 catches. Josh Smith has really not been heard of in this game, and he's really their difference maker, and he hasn't really touched the football.
He's the kind of guy who can stretch the field. And right now, Sumler's the running back, and McKnight and Crawford are to the top of the screen, and the tight end Gear and Williams to the bottom, as 4 receivers will go out on 3rd and 7. Hawkins going to wing it, looking for Crawford. Is that ball intercepted? Yes. Darryl Stuckey. They said he's the MVP of the defense so far this year, and he comes up big before halftime here.
He's in the middle of the field. He reads this and just goes on a beeline there. And what a great catch, and manages to get a foot in bounds. He was watching Cody Hawkins all the way and just took off when he saw his head pointing towards the sideline and chased that down. Great job. He's in the middle of the field, just to the left of the screen. And you'll see him on a dead run there. There he is.
So that is the 2nd time that the Kansas defense is able to come up with the turnover as Colorado was gaining ground and marching in towards a score. Sharp now, as he takes it under a minute to go here. Well, let's check in with Wendy with a look at what's coming up at the KFC halftime report.
Joe, thank you very much. I'll be joined by Jesse Palmer. We can't call it the Red River Shootout any longer, but so far that's the way it's been at the Cotton Bowl. We are all over Texas and Oklahoma.
And we'll take a look ahead tonight's big games, Oklahoma State at Missouri, and of course, LSU at Florida.
That's all coming up on the KFC halftime report. We'll let you get your minute underway. We'll be back in just a sec. Joe?
I'll look forward to that. Kansas up 9-7 here in the final minute of the first half. Jake Lapted had the safety against Cody Hawkins, and that's the difference so far. Todd Reesing has been managing this offense so far in the first half. We haven't seen the dynamic playmaking that we have become well conditioned to with Kansas in the course of the past year. As Colorado has been able to slow the pace of this game. And here's Sharp, just fighting for a little bit of yardage, and Chappelle Brown took him down, a 3-yard gain.
Well, I think you're right. Colorado has slowed the pace, but I think Kansas has also been affected by not having a healthy Kerry Meyer. I mean, he's such a big part of that offense.
You start to realize how big when you watch this first half, don't you?
Absolutely. You take him away, and you've taken out the #1 guy in your passing attack.
Colorado has now used up their timeouts, and there is Meyer, the junior. He goes 6'3", 220, and one of the more interesting stories in college football in recent years, because he was the starting quarterback. This guy was the starting quarterback of this team, and he's turned into one of the premier receivers in college football. He's second in the nation in catches per game. He's had 3 straight games over 100 yards receiving. And he's a big part of this offense.
I can't think of anyone else in college football that has made as significant a change as he has. I mean, to go from a quarterback to being one of the top receivers or top running backs in the country, that's something.
Sharp taken down by DJ Dykes. I mean, there's guys that have obviously gone on to the pros and done it. Bert Emanuel played quarterback, went on to pros, played in the NFL, wide receiver. But to be the starting quarterback one year and then end up as a star receiver during the same college career, it's been a very interesting road for Kerry Meyer.
Well, and you don't know how good he can be. You know, this guy spends all his time essentially in quarterback meetings and gives about, 30 minutes a day or so to the wide receiver spot, basically 7-on-7 drills. He doesn't do any of the individual drills that wide receivers do.
Kansas going to take a timeout here. Gives us the opportunity to look at the ESPNU All-State Standings Review. Yeah, I got a question for you here as we see that OU over on ABC leads Texas 21-20.
Yep.
If Texas wins that game, do you go along with the conventional thought that Texas, I mean, that would be such an impressive win against OU, that Texas would then leap up there and take that #1 slot?
No, I'm not conventional.
What do you mean? Texas beats Oklahoma. They're not going to be #1 in the country?
No, not in my book. And
who's going to be #1 in the country?
Well, Alabama. I mean, no one has had as impressive a run as Alabama.
Because of the win at Georgia.
The win at Georgia, to me, was
don't sell me on the win against Clemson now that you realize what Clemson is.
I will sell you on Georgia. That win was really something. You go in there and you simply dominate a top 10 team, in the first half like they did, an SEC team that a lot of people thought would be the best team in the country. Nothing has been more impressive to me than that road win.
Well, let me tell you something. If Texas wins against Oklahoma, you and I are going to be arguing in the airport all night long.
That is fine.
Because I think that win against Oklahoma would be more impressive than the win against
Georgia. It's not a road win, is it?
Oh, well, hey, Oklahoma, what the guys on SportsCenter say? They're 7 miles closer to campus at the Cotton Bowl.
And what other win would you say for Oklahoma?
Listen, I hear you there.
I'm just saying.
Cincinnati,
so far.
TCU, but, they've been extraordinarily impressive. And that win against Texas, or vice versa, Texas win against Oklahoma, boy, that would be something that you can really hang a season on right there. Hawkins scrambling, and this is just going to go safely out of bounds, and that'll bring it in to the first half of action.
Let's let Wendy and Jesse decide all that kind of stuff.
I think that's a fine idea.
Okay.
So Cody Hawkins with a touchdown pass to put the Buffs up early, but then back came the Jayhawks. Jake Sharp with the touchdown run, and then the safety to make it 9-7. Now let's join Wendy Nix in the studio for the KF.
Now to run the ball more and to throw shorter passes.
Offensive coordinator Ed Warner went so far as to tell us this week that he can't imagine anybody who has anyone better than Kerry Meyer. And this is Josh Smith, who at times has held up statements like that in the return game for Colorado. It's a 24-yard return there. Well, Rod's research, you laid it out early on. And now how has it played out?
Well, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Colorado protect Hawkins, and it's been shaky. He's been hurried a bit, and that's been the problem. He hasn't been hit as much, but still not comfortable, including a safety back there. You know, they've gotten no big plays, no receptions out of Smith. Stewart has been the offense so far for them.
Safety, the difference. The time they didn't protect him. That was an awkward handoff between Hawkins and Rodney Speedy Stewart, taken down by Mike Rivera. And there is Josh Smith, who we understand is playing with a bruised shoulder. He's actually the uncle of running back Darrell Scott, his teammate. Number one, the uncle to number two. Smith's older sister is Darrell Scott's mother.
And we've had the two most dynamic receivers in the game today banged up, and it's affecting the offense for both of these teams.
2nd and 8. And once again, they come around with Williams. And Williams, not much there on the outside. Pickup of 1.
So Dan Hawkins in Colorado, they share this information that, you know, bruised shoulder for Smith. They're a big-time wide receiver. Kansas, Meyer clearly hurt, clearly limping around, but they don't share that information.
That's a team policy. It's a program policy.
Two programs, two different policies.
I mean, it was clear to see that Meyer was banged up early on, but that's just the way they run things here at Kansas, and they respect the players' privacy when it comes to their injuries and health, and it works for them.
Yep.
3rd and 7 now. Man in motion is Gear. Hawkins pressured right up the middle. And this is complete for a first down, and it goes to Scotty McKnight.
Now, Cody Hawkins playing the next play, hanging in there, forgetting about things that have happened in the past. You know, his dad said something very interesting to us the other day talking about Cody. He says, you know, I brought him up to understand that he should give the credit to others and take the blame for what goes wrong. And that's what Cody does. And he struggled the last couple of weeks, and he said, hey, I haven't played well. Although there's plenty of reasons for that with the offensive line problems that they've had.
Well, play action. Hawkins, now he has time, and he's able to get it to the young running back, Rodney Stewart. A look at the first half stats today, and you can see the turnovers. And Colorado was driving, Rod, when those 2 interceptions were thrown.
Yeah, that makes those turnovers huge because they kept points off the board. You know, 2 interceptions down inside the 20-yard line.
1 from Harper, 1 from Stuckey on the Kansas D.
And Harper's was fantastic, just stripping the ball away from Crawford.
That was down inside the 5-yard line. Here's Rod Stewart. He's going to be short of a first down. Good tackle by James Holt. The other Rod Stewart, Rod Gilmore. We asked him. Remember a couple weeks ago we were with him in Florida. We said, oh, Rod Stewart, you ever Google your name? He told us we Googles his name, and only that singer guy shows up.
Yeah.
So will you ever listen to his songs? I've never listened to one.
No, we were naming songs.
Never
some guys have all the luck, you know, and he's like, huh, what? You know?
Made us feel old, didn't he?
Tonight's the night, and nothing registered.
3rd and 2 for Speedy Stewart. Little 5'6" freshman from Ohio. Wasn't highly recruited. He was a steal of a recruit. And he is short of a first down. Not getting it done. Arish Wright, the junior from Houston, made the tackle. So the punting team for Coach Hawkins comes onto the field.
Well, and that defensive line just dominated the offensive line, reestablishing the line of scrimmage about a yard back. And when you do that, you're gonna have a lot of success on 3rd and short.
Matt DeLallo to punt. Damon Patterson back to receive for Kansas, takes a bounce outside the 20 and now dribbles in, and it's actually going to take a very favorable roll for the Buffs all the way down to the 6-yard line. 44-yard punt. Todd Reesing, will he crank it up on offense when we return? Find out. Alongside Rod Gilmore, number 16, up 9-7. Low-scoring game for an offense that's very capable of putting points up. Reesing out of the shotgun, standing at his own 2. Here's Sharp, looking for room, hesitates for a moment, then finds a little seam and a burst out to the 10. Rod's research early on for Kansas now graded out.
Yeah, how'd they do? Well, after the first half, they found a little bit of a running game, and you just saw Sharp pick up some more yards for him. Meyer has been non-existent because of his injury, and defensively, they haven't knocked down any passes, but they have affected Cody Hawkins. He's hitched the ball a little bit and hesitated some.
See the red zone alert between Texas and Oklahoma. We invite you to go back and forth between ABC and this game here. Going to be a great afternoon of college football. Reesing stumbles for a moment, now charges forward and was hit from behind, and he's short of first down, a pickup of 3, and Brad Jones came crashing in to Todd Reesing.
They couldn't find anyone open then. Just watch the hit he takes at the end. Yeah, he gets sandwiched here. And remember, Kerry Meyer is the backup quarterback, and he's banged up. So every time Reesing takes off with the ball, I'm sure the coaching staff is a little worried. They want him to come up without any kind of a hint of an injury.
A 3rd and 3 for Kansas. Deep in their own territory. Reesing. Little delayed blitz, and he throws that short. That was incomplete, intended for Briscoe, and just didn't place it there.
Well, I don't think he had a passing lane. I think that one got knocked down or so. I think
had to be
tipped.
right.
You know?
Yeah, it got tipped. It had to be.
And remember, he's about what, 5'10", 5'11", and again, you have to find passing lanes. Now Colorado does a nice job getting hands up. That's Brandon Nicholas getting his right hand up and tipping that ball.
So Alonzo Rojas will have to punt. He's a couple feet into his own end zone. Josh Smith back to return for CU. Remember, he had a 37-yarder. Look at this bounce. Wow. All the way to the 10-yard line. Alonzo Rojas. End over end, and it pays off. A 77-yard punt for Kansas. Gets him out of trouble.
Some success, you can get some new facilities like Kansas did. Huh?
Well, after that 77-yard punt, Colorado back to the ground game. Richard Johnson with the tackle. A loss of 3. Well, we had the chance to visit Coach Mangino, and he's very proud about the success that he's had here, and specifically about the new football complex.
And how about that? 31 million, 80,000 square feet, and the 2 practice fields, you know, we see from the booth here, just phenomenal. You know, they get a lot of good stuff done.
2nd and 12 now, and Hawkins leaves his position, and thus the direct snap to Stewart. Stewart trying to get to the edge and looking for room, and tries to stretch out for that first down marker. And let's check in with Wendy.
Joe, thank you very much. A couple of programming news and notes over on ABC. Texas and Oklahoma, what have we here but a 1-point game? Texas just scored McCoy to Jordan Shipley, and over on ESPN, Minnesota with the 14-6 lead over the Illini. Joe?
That's what that previous channel button's for right there, Rod. You just hook it in between us and Texas, Oklahoma, and we're going to bring it home for good action all day long here. 3rd and 1. And that's a first down for the Buffs.
You know, we saw the graphic on the new facilities here and all that good stuff. I thought Mark Mangino made a good point. Let's take a look at this 3rd down. Did Cody Hawkins get there?
I don't know about that.
No, didn't get to our first down line, the yellow line.
I mean, where his body rolled to and he extended the ball, but the officiating
nice
crew
mark.
was very quick to just give him that generous mark and say, okay, first down.
Our yellow line is more like a guideline, not the official line, but he picks it up.
Play action. Cody didn't have any options there. Well pursued, and then downfield, well covered by Kendrick Harper.
Yeah, going back to the story on the facilities here, I thought Mangino had an interesting point when he said, hey, you know, I have to keep my guys, you know, on edge. You know, you have to make sure that after last season's success, you don't become complacent. And he thought a little bit of that was happening earlier this season.
Yeah, what did he say? He said the guys were out there in shorts, and I felt a little bit of that, and we went to full pads.
Yeah,
he knocked it out of the system pretty quick.
Yeah, you see the practice fields there. That's where they were back in the full pads.
2nd and 10 now for Hawkins and the Buffs. Quarterback run, but unable to get past James Holtz. He had 8 tackles last week against Iowa State, 15 last year against Colorado.
This Mark Mangino, quite a history. Done very well here at Kansas, turning the program around. Started off 2-10 and improved until last season when they had the breakthrough year, 12-1 Orange Bowl, the victory over Virginia Tech.
The consensus for National Coach of the Year. He was the pick. 3rd and 6 now. Hawkins pressured off the edge and just throws it away. Maxwell Onyebule coming in from that defensive end spot. Well, a year ago, it was a tight, low-scoring game. Kansas won 19-14. They were 15th in the country. And match this one up on paper, you would think that Kansas would be focused and energized after that lackluster first-half effort last week and then exploding offensively in the second half. And Colorado had their problems with the offensive line. But the pace, the tone, the setting of this game is tight and low scoring, a game that is ripe for an upset. And bobbling the ball, flag comes in, but falling down and bobbling the ball was Damon Patterson. And the officiating crew immediately signals that it is Kansas football, but a flag did come in on the 43-yard punt.
Yeah, I wonder if that flag was because they felt like the Colorado defender got too close.
Patterson looked like he just stumbled over his own 2 feet there.
Yeah, there was no contact with Patterson.
Right, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't interfered with in terms of the range. Let's get the call from John Bible.
Illegal block in the back. 25 on the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So that'll move Kansas back even further. Kansas offense. And here's a look at that block in the back.
Yeah, it's can't see who it was that committed it. But Mays was the guy who gets pushed, and that's why he winds up close to Patterson. He gets pushed into him. And a good call by the official to catch the block in the back.
Colorado held them to their lowest scoring output in all of last year in that 12-win season. And holding the offense to only 7 points here. Remember, they had the safety. Todd Reesing, play action, has time, goes downfield, over the middle, and Reesing connects with Meyer. 20-yard pickup. Starting quarterback to former starting quarterback.
That's the Kerry Meyer that we've come to see. He's still not running as fluidly as he normally does, but goes up over the middle. Tough guy. He's a big guy, you know, 6'3", 200+ pounds.
And now he goes right back to Meyer. So injury or no injury, they're getting Meyer involved here now. They've made the commitment, hey, if we're going to be what we are and have a sense of identity, it includes number 10.
Well, I'm sure they asked him at halftime, how do you feel? You know, can you go? He says, yeah, put me in, throw me the ball.
He's a complete gamer.
They struggled in the first half without him.
Hurry up now. And Reesing flush to the right and then just throws it out of bounds. But Kansas trying to pick up the pace here.
You know, it's interesting to watch them when they get to the line of scrimmage. You know, they do a good job of changing plays because they get the defense set in the defense that they want. And once they get the defense set, they will look over. Watch, the quarterback and the skill guys, the receivers and running backs, will look over to the sideline after they freeze the defense and see what they're playing.
There he looks over right there.
Yep. Now they're getting whether they want to change the play against that defense or not.
And now the option. Here's Sharp. Sharp trying for that first down. Nice move, and he's got it. Went airborne. Gave a good final surge. A 7-yard pickup from #1, Jake Sharp.
Yeah, and one of the great benefits of them freezing the defense at the line of scrimmage is that they get to see what they're in and then adjust the play accordingly. And on a third down, when you're trying to pick up the first down, it's helpful for a coach to be able to know exactly what the defense is doing.
Now the option to the other side. Oh, that's a fumbled ball, but it took a good bounce right back into the hands of Sharp. He was the big spark plug last week. Had a 100-yard receiving game, had 186 yards, and that second half comeback against Iowa State. And they've been looking for somebody to emerge in that backfield. 2nd and 10.
Here we go again. You see they look over.
2nd and 10 for Reesing. Steps up in the pocket, and that is complete to Briscoe.
Now watch, when they get back up to the line of scrimmage in their hurry-up offense, they will freeze the defense. Now the defense has to respect Reesing when he gets to the line of scrimmage because he might snap it. So they can't disguise the coverage. They have to line up like they're ready. Now they know what the defense is playing, and away they go.
Here's first down right on the 20. Option again. And once again, Sharp trying to get to that edge. So here comes Kansas now. A little bit of a hurry up. Catching the defense in their set. And as Rod has pointed out, looking over, figuring out the play for themselves.
Look over there. Right at the bottom of the screen. Those are the coaches that are getting the signals when they look over. Now, Reesing will look over. That's where he's looking.
And if you're the defense, you got to be ready for the snap at that point already. Colorado showing a moment of pressure there off the edge. So they go with the inside handoff, and it works well. A 6-yard pickup. Jones and Smart eventually taking down Jake Sharp. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 2.
Here you see David Beatty, the wide receivers coach. He is the guy who is signaling in the change of play or to stay with the play once they freeze the defense to see what the defense will do. Now, Reesing looks over, and the receivers look over when he looks over.
Sharp, first down, Kansas. Down to the 7-yard line.
This is such an advantage for an offense to know this. Again, they get a play, and there's Beatty. Now they signal in the first play. You line up, you freeze the defense, and now they will check again with Beatty, and it starts with Reesing. When Reesing looks over, now the other guys look over. The linemen do not look over. They wait for Reesing to tell them whether the play will change or not.
1st and goal. Reesing to pass. Flag comes down as the catch is made by Desmond Briscoe. He's down to the 2-yard line.
Personal foul, shot block, 66 on the offense. That's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's going to set him back. Penalty against Adrian Mays.
Yeah, and that's a safety call. You can see that. It's just to the left of the screen as it was a block on George Hippolyte, number 86. And that's a safety issue. That rule is in effect to make sure that there aren't knee injuries caused by blocks like that.
So it backs them all the way up to the 21. And remember, this was a goal-to-go situation, so they cannot pick up a first down. It gets reset all the way back at the 21. Reesing right over the middle to Sharp. Sharp looking for a block. Finds a crease and gets it close to the 11-yard line.
And now you have a long situation here. Now you can really get a benefit out of having David Beatty, your coach on the sideline, read the defense for the quarterback, which is essentially what he does. He reads the defense, and now he'll tell Reesing whether to change the play once Reesing sets the defense as he lines up. You can't disguise right now because he might snap it.
Meyer is in the slot to the top of the screen. You know that's his favorite target in spots like this.
Now, did they change the play? He gave him a play.
He's looking to the top. He goes to Briscoe. Briscoe trying to stay on his feet and is pushed out of bounds. 7-yard pickup by Desmond Briscoe, pushed out by Sean Moeller.
You see, Reesing had a couple of choices over there. Couldn't wait for Meyer in the end zone. Came off short to Briscoe. Yeah, I like this system that Kansas uses with the double look to the sideline for the play. Yeah, because it's like having the coach play quarterback. Coach is actually on the field seeing things, and it's almost like he's talking in the helmet to the quarterback.
It's worked out well here. Drive that start on their own 22. 12th play now. 3rd and goal. Inside, over the middle, and that is complete for a touchdown. Desmond Briscoe. What a drive by Kansas.
We saw them work on this play in practice on Thursday, and that ball is supposed to be thrown high. And Briscoe was told on Thursday, expect it high because you got to get it over all the debris, the line of scrimmage and the like, and that ball was thrown right where it was supposed to be.
The wheat is waving in the stands at Memorial Stadium. Reesing and company created. Is trying to win 3 straight from Colorado for just the 2nd time in series history. And Desmond Briscoe helped out, hauling in the 5-yard touchdown pass from Todd Reesing. And they're up 16-7.
Briscoe had 3 catches on that drive, and also got a little help from Meyer, who had a couple of catches as well. 12-play drive, 78 yards, 5 minutes and 37 seconds.
Here's Josh Smith from a foot into his end zone. Smith. See if he can get through there. Here goes Josh Smith trying to get a block to the outside. Josh Smith into KU territory, and the Buffs are set up well. Let's see how Wendy Nix sets us up. What do you have, Wendy?
Hopefully equally as well, Joe. How about Michigan 20-4 all-time against current MAC teams? Could that be in danger of changing today? Well, if Tyrell Herbert has anything to do with it, it will. That's his 2nd pick of the day. That sets up a field goal, and Toledo has taken the lead 13-10 over Michigan. First Stephen 3, then Nick Sheridan came in. Meanwhile, a game living up to the hype at the Cotton Bowl, Texas, with their first lead of the afternoon, 30-28 over Oklahoma.
Thanks, Wendy. Well, remember what Toledo did, the way they played Fresno and Texas and OU. What a day to just be sitting on the couch and taking it all in. Some confusion, it looked like, with the Colorado offense as Rodney Speedy Stewart showed his speed getting off to the sideline. So they burn a timeout. Tonight we invite you to watch the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, the Chase, the Bank of America 500 at Charlotte tonight on ABC, and coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 7 Eastern. Well, number 16, Dan Hawkins is facing here. Kansas still with hopes of this being a special kind of year, like the year they had last year going to the Orange Bowl, but the tough sledding is coming up.
Yeah, Oklahoma on the horizon next week, followed by Texas Tech. In the year with Missouri. You get the sense that this crowd is already looking ahead to Oklahoma. They just haven't quite been into this game today.
Oklahoma trailing by 2 to Texas. You can see that game on ABC. Rodney Stewart in the backfield for CU. Can they take advantage of this good field position here. A pickup of 2. James Holt with the tackle for the Jayhawks.
It's all falling on Stewart's shoulders because Josh Smith, who returned that kickoff, and has a bruised shoulder and hasn't been able to do anything offensively. And he's their dynamic wide receiver, their big play guy, and so they really haven't been able to throw the ball down the field.
59-yard kickoff return. Play action. Here they go down the field for Cody Crawford. And that was almost intercepted. Intended for Crawford. And Harper and Thornton converged.
Well, Cody waited a bit too long. And he needed to put it out there and let Crawford run underneath it. Gave it a little bit too much air. And that allowed plenty of time for Harper to recover and make the play.
Crawford had to slow down and wait on it.
Yep.
And the DBs were able to get into the mix.
Yep.
Almost intercepted on the
closing speed. Closing speed. Cody waited just a little bit too long before letting it fly.
Josh Smith is in the game on the top of your screen. 3rd and 8. He's looking to Smith. Josh Smith! Down to the 1-yard line. 38-yard pickup. He beat Chris Harris on that play, and a much-needed big play from one of their big playmakers.
Smith, with that bruised shoulder, just comes in and runs a fly pattern, and he goes right by Harris. Hey, not much to it. And Cody Hawkins did not wait too long to throw this one. He put it out there, and here they are in business on the 1-yard line.
Cody Hawkins trying to do it on his own. Let's see the call. Touchdown. Buffs right back into it. They respond well after Reesing had the long drive for Kansas. Colorado comes right back.
Well, they got the big play from Josh Smith, the guy that they've been missing most of the ball game because of his injury, but they get him back in. He makes a big play after the big return, and that set up the easy touchdown run for Cody Hawkins.
So we got ourselves a ball game here with 6 seconds left in the 3rd. And Josh Smith, he had the 37-yard punt return, the 59-yard kickoff return, and a big 38-yard catch there that set up that touchdown.
Let's go back and take a look at some of what Josh Smith has done. Now, he's right here. Now, look where he is right now. He just closes down, breaks down the cushion that the corner has, and runs past him. And he's in one-on-one coverage and just made that go.
They've been saying all year long, offensive coordinator Mark Helfrich, Coach Hawkins, that they need to find ways to get Josh Smith involved. And he has done it today on special teams with the punt return, the kickoff return, and now showing that speed downfield as a receiver.
Well, they couldn't do anything in the first half down the field because he was hurting with that bruised shoulder. He just took a pat on the shoulder from one of his teammates. Like, whoa, 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 shake my hand. Don't hit me on the shoulder.
Got a good one here in Lawrence. Marcus Herford, short kick, doesn't make much of a return out of it. And 1 second left on the clock in the 3rd. More college football to come your way. 2 games in prime time on ESPN. Joe Pond, the undefeated Nittany Lions against Wisconsin. Then on ESPN2 at 8 Eastern, and this is one you're going to love if you love offense. Oklahoma State against Mizzou, and Chase Daniel going after that Heisman Trophy. We'll see what he does against Oklahoma State tonight. Kansas, that safety, the only difference in the game right now. Flea flicker, Reesing, he has time. And it was thrown behind his man, but a flag does rein in. He wanted to hit Briscoe, and Dykes was coming back and recovering in coverage, And he made contact.
Pass interference, defense number 9. That's a 15-yard penalty. It'll be a first down, and the quarter will be extended for one untimed play.
Quarter of the half cannot end on a defensive penalty, so we'll have an untimed play here.
Well, you see, he had choices. He had 2 guys out there. He had Fields and he had Briscoe. He chose to go to Briscoe, and you see Dykes makes contact before he turns around. And he makes an attempt to get his head around, but he reached out and grabbed Briscoe before he did that, and that's clearly pass interference.
So final play of the third. And now Kansas out of the eye and under center. You don't see that much. Sharp followed up. Not much happening there. Now close out the action in the third. Reesing started to get in a groove, had that long drive, capped by the touchdown to Desmond Briscoe. But then Josh Smith and the Buffs came back. Hawkins capped it. And we've got a good ball game here in Lawrence. 16-14, fourth quarter when we return. Stay with us. Number 16 Jayhawks are only up 16-14. A safety, the difference against a feisty CU team. Here's Todd Reesing. Trying to gain some ground as he was flushed out to the outside, but Brad Jones able to corral him for a loss of 1.
And Jake Sharp was blocking so hard on that play, he lost his helmet. And continued on. Picked up his helmet in the middle of the play and put it back on to try and throw another block.
Well, Coach Mangino says, hey, he is a very, very competitive guy. And there's a prime example. 3rd down and 9 here. Just short of the 50 is the line to make. Reesing, they're only rushing 3. Over the middle and complete for a first down to Briscoe. 15-yard gain to Desmond Briscoe, who had that touchdown in the third quarter.
Now, look right at the beginning. Let's hold it right here and take a look. Linebackers. Linebackers are right here. Move them out of the way so your quarterback has a throwing lane. And that's exactly what they did.
Hurry up right to the line, and Reesing simply takes the snap and runs for a first down to the right side. So this offense picking up the pace here. Look at that play clock, just reaching 30 seconds by the time they line up and are ready to go. Option. Sharp has a block. Sharp inside the 30 and out at the 26.
It's like a pitcher changing speeds. You know, now they aren't looking to the sideline. Now what they've done is they've gone hurry up, they get the play quickly, and they're changing the pace on the Colorado defense, not letting them get into a rhythm.
And it's working. 2nd and 1 now. Reesing to pass. Downfield to Meyer. And Meyer is inside the 10-yard line. And the Jayhawks are coming right back. 17-yard pickup there.
What a tough guy. I mean, Meyer is not healthy. I mean, watch him at the end of this run. He is dragging that left leg, but he is out there anyway trying to make this thing happen.
He was banged up on the first series of this game. 1st and goal now for Reesing and Kansas. Sharp still on his feet to the goal line. Touchdown, Jayhawks. Boy, that didn't take long, did it, Rod?
No, they got some big plays in there, and I really think having Meyer out there helps this offense. A couple of catches for him, distractions, a decoy, and then tough inside running by Sharp. I'm not sure he got in there. I think that ball was down before he crossed the plane.
Well, they snapped for the extra point, so it's on the board now. Jake Sharp, his 2nd touchdown of the day. And number 16 back up by 9. puts Kansas up 23-14. Or did he in your eyes?
It's not a touchdown. Watch where the ball is. He's down, knee is down, ball is down, short of the goal line, but it goes in the book as a touchdown. Replay official did not get to that one quickly enough.
Hurry up offense for Kansas, taking advantage on that last drive, as Sharp has really emerged from the second half of the Iowa State comeback game, and now today with 2 touchdowns on the ground in a game that Colorado has stayed in it and has been competitive. And Josh Smith, the man with the ball right now, has been a big reason why. And once again, a good return from Smith. Let's check in with Wendy Nix.
Joe, thank you very much. And we once again check in at the Cotton Bowl. How about this? You like offense, you like this game. Sam Bradford, just unbelievable. That is his 5th touchdown of the game, his 3rd to Manny Johnson. That makes it 35-30 Oklahoma. There have been lead changes all afternoon, and the upset alert. Michigan at the Big House, trailing Toledo by 3, just about 4 to play.
Now, roller coaster ride season, first year of Coach Rodriguez, continues for Michigan, but a thriller going on at the Cotton Bowl. And this was intended for Smith, but unable to connect was Cody Hawkins.
But, you know, that Cotton Bowl game, you know, the Big 12 is all about offense this year. I mean, Colorado is averaging about 24.5 points a game, right? And they're like last.
Oh, yeah.
In the Big 12.
I mean, this is the quarterback conference right now. Cody Hawkins needs to step up and be the quarterback that can pull off a 4th quarter comeback right now for the Buffs. 2nd and 10. Stewart still in his own backfield, gets a block from his quarterback, but chased by a whole lot of blue, and is out just over the 31 as Chris Harris was getting after him.
We talked about Rod Stewart being only about 5'6". Okay, you see what he sees. This is what he sees. Big difference, huh? Looking for some place to go and nothing but blue shirts, and you can't see over him.
A dynamic freshman, but playing in back of an offensive line that has really been affected by injuries. And now a 3rd and 10. Hawkins from the gun. 3 receivers, the backs stay in, and now he dumps one off, and that falls incomplete to Demetrius Sumler. But Hawkins just kept backing up and was left with very few options there to convert that 3rd down.
Well, Dan Hawkins knows that he's got to stay out of 3rd and 10. He knows that he's got to take some shots. They need big plays. This offense, with the problems that they have with the offensive line, with injuries and the like, they can't handle 12, 14 play drives. They need chunks of yardage.
And right now they need to get the field position in their favor and play some defense. Here's the punt from DeLallo. And Dexton Fields from his 21. Fields tries to go straight up the middle. Now cuts it to the outside. Dexton Fields. Heck of a return. 36 yards into Colorado territory.
A good return man has to make the first guy miss. And Dexton Fields that time did more than that. He made the first guy miss and a second and kept his balance. Watch him here. And this was a lot of Dexton Fields and not a whole lot of help anywhere else. He made a couple of guys miss, and they're in business now inside the 45-yard line.
And now the opportunity exists for Kansas to try to seal this one up here in the 4th quarter. Reesing, he's not shy when it comes to doing that. He hits Briscoe.
Well, the one positive thing for Kansas with Myers' injury is that other receivers have had to step up, and they need to find somebody else as a go-to guy, and Briscoe has certainly had a tremendous afternoon.
Good looking target for Reesing. Here's Reesing now in 2nd and 6. Pressure up the middle, and Reesing gets loose. and now goes over the middle, and that is complete to Wilson. 14 yards there, and another first down for Kansas. And now you can see that Reesing is finding his rhythm as on the opposing sidelines. Well, maybe. Does that hint of a quarterback change?
Perhaps.
Ballinger warming up. That ball is batted down. And B.J. Beatty took a swipe at it.
How about Reesing? He understands his limitations. Take a look at the quarterback comparison here. Reesing 22 of 27. Hawkins struggling again today, 8 of 22. Struggled last week against Texas. And the passing attack really not there for Colorado.
Very efficient day from Todd Reesing. After that batted ball, 2nd and 10 now. And there he goes to Meyer. And he's close to a first down. Sean Moeller was there on the coverage. Story of the game early on, Kerry Meyer was injured, banged up, hasn't been 100%, but still trying to contribute. And you can see him limping, just getting back up to the line of scrimmage as they hurry up, and Colorado tries to substitute players, and they get caught in that substitution.
Yep.
A flag comes down as Sharp takes the handoff, and a smart play by Reesing to just snap the ball there, Rod.
Well, we've talked about them changing pace. You saw the example where they were doing the hurry up last drive. A couple of drives ago, they had a very deliberate double look to the sideline to check the defense and hold them in place.
Coach Mangino, his 7th season here. Officiating crew talking it over.
Illegal substitution on the defense. The 12th player didn't get off the field. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Well, that's what that offense will do to you.
Yep.
And that is the goal, so that you can't substitute and get set.
Well, mass confusion there. They don't know who's on, who's off. You got a couple guys running off, a couple guys running on. And trouble lining up. They were so discombobulated on that play for Colorado was defensively. Yeah, I started to mention Reesing earlier. I mean, guy understands his limitations. He doesn't think about the NFL. He's thinking about grad school.
Oh, he's a smart kid. Says mom is eyeing those Ivy League business schools, postgraduate work. But he didn't rule out. He said, you know, I'll see what happens.
Planning to go overseas, may even apply for a Rhodes Scholarship sometime next year. He's an outstanding student with a double major, economics and finance.
Obviously, with his size, the NFL scouts frown upon that. A lot of guys like him have gone north of the border and played that style in the CFL. But Reesing, smart kid, has a lot of options in life. Here's Sharp, right into the end zone once again for Jake Sharp. His 3rd of the day, and the Jayhawks are in control of this one.
And Reesing is in control of the offense. And that's a nice speed option. He sets it up perfectly, hangs onto the ball, makes a commitment by the defense, and pitches it at the last possible second and hits his man Sharp in stride with that pitch. Nice easy run into the corner of the end zone.
Brandstetter tacks on the extra point. And this has been a very productive afternoon for Jake Sharp. His 3rd of the day, this one from 7 yards out on the option from Reesing. And there's the man of the day as his team is up 30-14. 17th consecutive week, a school record that Kansas has been in the Associated Press poll. Number 16, and looking to stay right there as this program has been on quite the upswing.
Thank you.
Coming off the Orange Bowl.
Thank you for the education yesterday as we were talking about the Jayhawks and Rock Chalk and Chicken Hawk. I was thinking Chicken Hawk.
Old school cartoons.
Old school,
there.
Yeah. Foghorn Leghorn.
I'll say it. Colorado. Demetrius Sumler on the return. Well, we were wondering what would happen with the quarterback situation with the Bucks. Would Cody Hawkins stay in there? Just 8 of 22 for 90 yards. And Rod, what do you make of this decision we're about to see here?
Well, no helmet means I'm not going on the field.
And Matt Ballinger is.
Well, and it makes some sense for a couple of reasons. As we see his first play.
Ballinger. And that was thrown high and incomplete. Let's check in with Wendy. Wendy.
Joe, thank you very much. Some fantastic finishes all around the ESPN family of networks. How about Texas and Oklahoma? The Longhorns just scored, went for 2, lead Oklahoma by 3. And over on ESPN, Minnesota up by a touchdown, under a buck to go over Illinois. Joe, back to you.
Thanks, Wendy. Colorado trailing 30-14. They were playing competitive, keeping it close. 16-14, start the fourth quarter, and Ballinger is sacked there by Jamal Green. But then the Kansas offense started cranking up. Jake Sharp with a couple of touchdowns, and now that finds Cody Hawkins over on the sideline.
Well, again, a couple of good reasons for taking him out. One, he's been beat up. He's been knocked around the last couple of weeks, Florida State and Texas. Good for him to get a chance to, look at things. And then 2, regardless of how good your backup is, he's got to play in case he has to play extended periods of time after an injury. So you got to get him on the field.
Ballinger on third down goes to McKnight, and that's going to be short of a first down in for Cody Hawkins. And there is Cody. Let me tell you the kind of guy that Cody Hawkins is. You notice that his hair is shaved there compared to the pictures you may see in some of our graphics. He went and visited a local school and came across a young cancer patient. And he said to the young cancer patient, you know what? I'm going to shave my head just like you. And that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah. Well, and a complete team player also. He was asked, well, what about, if you lose the quarterback spot? He said, hey, if it happens, it happens. It's whatever is best for the team is what I'm going to do.
Dexton Fields, that's a loose ball. Live ball, and it goes out of bounds. 48-yard punt from DeLallo.
I don't think Cody Hawkins is going to lose the quarterback spot. I think he's still the best quarterback on this team, and they will stay with that. We'll just see whether his backup.
Well, let's talk more about that when we come back. Get into the mentality of that. Jayhawk fan. The Orange Bowl last year, number 16 this year, and in control here. Trying to start their Big 12 season at 2-0 for just the 3rd time ever. Reesing to Meyer. And Meyer, injury or no injury, getting after it.
Well, and Kansas picked a good time to find a running game and a running back. I think they found him in Sharp. This is a guy who wasn't getting many touches when the season began. He had 9 in the first game, and then 7, 5, and 5, and then 19 touches last week, 25 carries today, and they have a running attack again.
Reesing keeping himself and getting across for a first down, a pickup of 4.
Yeah, those 19 carries that Sharp had last week, most of them came in the second half when they made that comeback. And so in the last 6 quarters, Kansas has discovered their running back, the guy who probably should have been the guy all along, but the first 3 or 4 games, they were rotating backs trying to find a guy.
And as you pointed out, a much-needed weapon when you get into some of the tougher tests of this Big 12 season. Fields. Out to the 35.
Well, let's just think about that for a second. This Kansas team will play Oklahoma next week. And you've seen today the number of points Oklahoma is putting up. Kansas is not going to play Oklahoma and score 50 points against them.
You got to shorten the game.
You got to shorten the game.
You got to keep it honest.
Yep, you got to have a running attack.
Reesing. Well, we know he can do that. And look at Meyer getting away from the first would-be tackler and getting a little something extra. Sean Moeller missed that tackle on Kerry Meyer.
I might get Meyer out of the ball game now.
Yeah, don't risk anything further, right?
Yeah, get him out, call it a day, save him for Oklahoma.
Instead, they go right back to him on 3rd down, and he gets him a first down. And here's a stat that I loved when we were researching this game when it came to Kerry Meyer. 61% of his catches go for first downs.
Yeah, he's their third down guy. He is the guy they count on to make things happen. He's a tough guy, and you don't expect this from quarterbacks.
See that balance he showed, putting his hand on the turf, and now Sharp. Now here's something I want to ask you, Rod. I know they go with the hurry-up offense and they rush up there and try to make it so that you can't substitute, and they want to get their play call and then change their play call. But with a lead like this, wouldn't you take more time off the play clock? They're snapping that ball there while still in the 20s.
This is not about today. This is about their style of play. This is about next week and the week after that. Oklahoma, Texas. It is about getting the mentality about the style of play they want to establish and continue here at Kansas.
That's a great point. A style of play and a rhythm that we didn't see in the first half today. Not much of it, at least, especially in the first quarter. And now they're finding that rhythm, and it's working out well here in the fourth. Sharp after the high snap. Chappelle Brown with the tackle for Colorado, and Stengel got in the mix there too from that weak side linebacker position.
Yeah, for Kansas, it's not about just winning this game. I mean, they're going to battle Missouri for winning this division, and they may be good enough.
3rd and 7 at the 45.
3rd and 6 now. 2-by-2 for Reesing. Sharp out of the backfield as an option, puts it downfield for Meyer, and he comes back to make the catch. Now they're saying incomplete. What an effort he made, though, to try to come back to that one.
Well, he came back because Reesing told him to come back. Now watch Reesing direct Meyer. Come back here. He tells him where to go. Meyer breaks off his route, and that looks like a catch.
Oh, he juggled it.
Yep. He did not have full control. Looks like he initially got his hands underneath it, but he didn't control it. Yep, that's touching some ground, and then he squeezes it a little bit more, and it pops out there.
Now, these two guys know each other so well because they sit in every quarterback meeting together and practice as quarterbacks together, and then Meyer goes over, and when it's time to play the game, he lines up as receiver. So he knows the fundamentals of this offense from the quarterback side. And there's a flag down on this punt.
Delay, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
I think it was very interesting how they decided to get Kerry Meyer into that receiver position because they had the battle for who would be the quarterback, and Reesing and Meyer. And then, you know, when Meyer was named as the backup, Coach Mangino said to offensive coordinator Ed Warner, hey, this is one of the best athletes on the entire team. I'm not going to have him sitting on the sidelines. Put him somewhere. Put him at receiver.
Well, and the mentality of this, you know, they don't refer to him as a wide receiver. He's still listed as a backup quarterback. They talk to him like he's a quarterback. And we heard from the coaching staff that it's important for a quarterback to have his identity.
Cody Crawford was able to secure that ball for CU. We'll be back. 30-14, Kansas on top. Trying to secure the win here. 30-14 over Colorado. Tonight the question is, who will win in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series? Talk about that in a moment. As Matt Bollinger and Sumler now make up the backfield. Delay handoff to Sumler for Colorado. Cody Hawkins left the game a series ago. Let's check in with Pam Ward. Pam.
Wildcat fans are fired up and ready to go in this Big Ten matchup. Northwestern is unbeaten on the season. Today they take on a Michigan State team led by Javon Ringer, second in the country in rushing. We have Michigan State and Northwestern coming up. Let's get back to Joe.
Thanks, Pam. Bollinger swarmed underneath by Jamal Green. I think Northwestern's going to have a real chore ahead of them. And Pam and Ray getting ready to call that game because Javon Ringer, he can run and run hard with the best of them.
Yeah, he's a big-time back, but, you know, don't sleep on Northwestern. Northwestern has a decent running attack and a pretty good run in it themselves, and Terrell Sutton, he's not bad.
3rd and 7 for Bollinger. He has time, and he has a first down. And that is complete to Patrick Devaney. Well, we told you NASCAR, that is the big question tonight. The Sprint Cup Series, the Bank of America 500 in Charlotte, tonight on ABC. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 7 Eastern. Who's going to grab it? Carl Edwards, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon. The chase is on. So a first down for the 6'4", 230-pound redshirt freshman Matt Bollinger. In for Cody Hawkins, who struggled today. And now, quarterback showing us that he can keep it on the ground himself. 5-yard gain, taken down by Chris Harris. Completely different body types. The undersized Hawkins against the big prototype quarterback size of Bollinger.
Well, this is good for Bollinger to get in there, you know, get knocked around, get comfortable, throw the ball a little bit, because they will need him at some point.
Has time, now pressured, still looking downfield, and the ball comes loose. And fortunately for him, Daniel Sanders, starting center, was able to fall on it. That's a 16-yard loss.
Yeah, and these are some of the little things that you have to let your quarterback go through. You know, your backup quarterback has got to learn, protect the football, game situation, get him in there, let him get knocked around a little bit. You can't talk about these things. He's got to do them.
And now the redshirt freshman faces a 3rd and 20. Lofts it. Not a good-looking ball at all, and it was almost picked off. Instead, it goes incomplete, but Darryl Stuckey thought he had his second of the day.
Yeah,
now, what was it that Coach Hawkins said to us the other day about, you know, making a switch at quarterback? He says, you start messing with your quarterback situation, you better be careful.
Well, yeah, he said if you're going to make a move, you make it. You don't go back and forth. He says, you know, once you get in the quarterback head, you know, you got a problem. So if you're going to make a switch, you make a switch and you're done with it. You don't keep going back and forth. But here, I don't think there's any question.
No,
that man is still the quarterback.
Yeah, what you're saying here is, hey, listen, this game's gotten away from us. We need to get our young guys some experience.
Yep.
But there may be some headaches down the road in Boulder. And that takes a good bounce, but then goes into the end zone. Let's check in with Wendy once again.
Joe, thank you very much. We check in at the Big House. Michigan has never lost to a MAC team. 24-0 all time. Well, you can put that one in the books because Casey Lopata misses a 26-yard field goal. That would have tied it up. Michigan has lost. This is now a final. Coming up short, Toledo 13-10, the final score, and Texas-Oklahoma, a solid finish on ABC. 3.5 to go, 45-35 Longhorns.
How about that? What a game.
No, both of them, huh?
Talked about it all week long, and those two teams delivering down at the Cotton Bowl. Here's a guy that has delivered for Kansas today. Jake Sharp. 3 touchdowns on the day. Of course, much more action to come tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. At 8 Eastern on ESPN, we got undefeated Penn State against Wisconsin. Then on ESPN2 at 8 Eastern, Oklahoma State and Missouri. Rod, what to look for between those two games?
How about points in that second game? Oh, a lot of points. Big-time points. Oklahoma State, number 3 Missouri. Missouri's won 5 of the last 6 of those. And that Penn State-Wisconsin game, you know, Penn State can put up a lot of points. I just don't think they can put up that many as they've done in the past at Wisconsin against Brett Bielema's defense.
You know, we did Wisconsin a few weeks ago. They're a very talented team. I mean, there is a lot of talent on that roster. The fact that they don't have a number next to their name, be careful there, folks.
Yeah, I don't see 30 points going up against that Wisconsin defense. I mean, do you?
No, I do not. And with P.J. Hill and their ability to control things offensively, a big offensive line, who knows? But Penn State has shown that they are an elite team this year. Gleason running for a first down. He is fleet with his feet.
Well, you wonder about Colorado. What's left for them? Where do they go? It's a team that 3-2 this season, still with some tough games ahead. I think they still have a real good shot at getting to a bowl game.
Well, 2-4, or excuse me, 3-3 is looking them right in the face.
Yep.
And then obviously, you got to play Missouri.
Tough one.
You got to play Oklahoma State.
Tough one.
But this year, Texas A&M is very manageable.
Iowa State.
Iowa State Nebraska also. And K-State has shown that they're inconsistent.
So they have a shot to get to 6 or 7 wins, depending on how they play, you know, in those competitive games.
They're coming off the loss to Texas, and now here today, of course, what's happening against Kansas, and then Kansas State coming up, and then at Missouri is just a tough test for this offense to try to match points with.
Yeah, and the problem is you've got your 3rd loss in a row coming up, and you have a young team. So you have to get them back and not let them dwell on what's happened for 3 straight weeks.
Here's Sharp. And Sharp is taken down by Brad Jones. And for Kansas, we talked about it. You know, they've reached the level as a program where the expectations are high. Now, Coach Mangino, you see him there, he was quick to tell us yesterday, hey, we're still Kansas. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But you know what? He's done a fine job here, and there's an expectation to win, especially in these games like this. Well, and to win and look impressive.
They might be catching Oklahoma at the right time next week.
They may be. Once again handing off to Sharp, and now taking some time off the clock, a 4-yard gain there. And when he says that, hey, we're still Kansas, what he's talking about is there's still a lot of things to overcome here. The recruiting, you know, they've got to go to a lot of people's backyards and take kids out of Texas, take kids out of Oklahoma, which isn't easy because this state only produces so many top-level recruitable players, and the state is split with K-State.
Exactly. And Missouri comes into Kansas as well. I mean, it's not like no one recruits in Kansas. They're fighting just to keep their own guys in Kansas.
Jake Sharp is a Kansas guy. Todd Reesing's a Texas guy. And that backfield has been the answer here today. And there's a nice play by B.J. Beatty to come in. Get a tackle for loss there for the Buffs.
You mentioned Todd Reesing. Reesing had only 2 offers coming out of high school. Duke and here at Kansas. And the Kansas offer was almost, you know, kind of late. It took Mangino looking at his tape going, I'm intrigued with the guy. He may be small, but I'm intrigued.
Coach Warner, the offensive coordinator, told us the other day, he said Todd Reesing has that IQ, that football IQ, where he can watch film for 2 hours and write up a game plan that would be pretty good. He would know where to go and how to be the defense. Espinoza mishandles that. That's a loose ball. And finally, Colorado is able to secure that. As Jaleel Brown jumped in it. Glad you're with us this afternoon from Lawrence, Kansas. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore. This was a very competitive game for 3 quarters, Rod.
Yeah, and it was all about the running game being found. Jake Sharp got a touchdown, and then there was a safety on Cody Hawkins. Jake Laptad got him in the end zone. And then it was back to Reesing getting things done offensively, finding Desmond Briscoe in the back of the end zone. Sharp again on the ground, the running attack going.
Sharp with 2 fourth-quarter rushing touchdowns. And that has been margin that KU has been milking. Patrick Devaney, 12-yard pickup. And there is Sharp. And you said, hey, they need to find the running game. They need that one player to emerge. Well, he has arrived from the second half last week against Iowa State in the comeback to what we have seen today.
They definitely
that
found
is incomplete from Ballinger. Here are the updated standings. Mizzou still to go tonight in a tough one. And Kansas right now starting off at 2-0 in Big 12 play. Just the 3rd time ever. They did it in '97, and of course they did it last year when they went on to win the Orange Bowl.
I don't think there's any question either Missouri or Kansas will win the North. A big matchup at the end of the season between those 2 teams.
Scotty McKnight, 18-yard pickup for Colorado. A lot of work to do down the road for Colorado, but we talked about it. They have a schedule that is manageable, but the injuries have been costly this year, specifically on the offensive line. And this is not the team that we saw with all the high hopes leaving the field with the thrilling overtime victory against West Virginia on Thursday Night Football, things have changed. They went from 3-0 to 3-3.
Well, and that man got a new contract this week, Dan Hawkins, and that was a vote of confidence about some of the off-field things that they have going on well. And what he wants to do now is to get his assistant coaches taken care of, because they can't give multi-year contracts at Colorado.
He really has stabilized the program. And forget on the field. They're going to be heading the right direction on the field. We've seen glimpses of this. But remember the recent history of Colorado. And Coach Dan Hawkins has stabilized things here, and he was rewarded. He's locked up with a new contract through 2012. Just wishes that the results maybe were a little better the past few weeks. Well, Kansas is number 16 for a reason. Our final score, the Jayhawks 30, Colorado 14. Coming up next, Michigan State and unbeaten Northwestern. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Rod Gilmore and our entire crew, I'm Joe Tessitore. Thanks for watching, everyone. Big day for Jake Sharp.